Welcome to this session on developing successful games with Google Play. Hope you're all having a fantastic I/O. Is that true? You guys having a fun time here? Woo! Exactly. Let's get energized. I know it's 10 o'clock in the morning, but let's get excited for game stuff, right? Did you guys enjoy all the festivities last night? Yes, seeing some nodding heads. Do you guys like the blankets they were handing out because it was freezing? I certainly did. I grabbed one of those. So I'm Ben Frankel. I'm a product manager on the Play Games team. And in this session, I'm going to provide you an overview of what Play Games is doing for game developers. And I'm joined today by my esteemed colleague, T.I., who's going to go into the nitty-gritty details of how to implement both Play Games and other Play services. And we also have a very special guest with us today, Duke Kim from Netmarble, who's going to talk about both a background for Netmarble, what games they have, as well as what they're doing with Play Games and Play overall to improve their business. But first, let's see a quick show of hands. How many of you in this room are game developers or involved in the game industry? Excellent. That is virtually everybody. I do see a few familiar faces from the session I did earlier in the week. How many of you were at that session? Good amount? All right. Well, the good news for you, I'm not going to bore you with the same material. There is fresh content here and plenty of it. But for those of you who were not there, I'll go and provide some background on what Play Game Services is all about. So our mission is to provide developers the tools and services they need to create great games and make money while they're doing it too. And in 2013 at I/O, we launched Play Game Services for the first time. And when we launched, we had the basics. We had achievements, we had leaderboards, we had a multiplayer stack, and so on and so forth. And since then, we've become the fastest growing game network ever. Fast forward to today, and each month, hundreds of millions of people sign into Play Game Services, and 50% of the top 500 games are integrated. But over the years, the needs of developers have evolved substantially, and we've had to evolve along with them. And so Play Game Services has since expanded to offer things like video recording and predictive analytics and tools to support live operations. And another way we've had to evolve is we needed to start bringing our tools to the different products that our partners use. And in particular, what we observed after a number of conversations with large developers and small developers, that game developers typically fell into one of two camps. They either had their own game engine that was built in C++, or they used a game engine, oftentimes a Unity or a Cocos 2D. So just a quick show of hands. How many of you have your own game engine that you've built in C++? Specifically. How many of you have something that your own game engine not built in C++ but another language? Didn't think so. All right, that is not a real thing, it turns out. And then how many use a game engine of some sort? Okay, that's the vast majority of the audience, and that makes sense. And which is why when we looked at what our partners were doing, we realized we absolutely had to have support for game engines. So we actually have a Unity plugin that is an open source project that we maintain on GitHub, and you can go check it out and make use of those services immediately. In addition to that, we also, a couple of years ago, launched our C++ SDK, so that for those of you who do not greatly enjoy crossing the JNI bridge into Java land for doing all of your integrations, you can do them directly in C++ instead. And it just so happens that if you have a C++ SDK, it's relatively easy to integrate Play Game Services into game engines that built also on C++. And Cocos 2D is just such a game engine, and they have native support for a number of different Play Game Services features to make it very easy to integrate. And we're working with partners to deepen and simplify our integrations all the time, and we're always on the lookout for new and exciting game engines to partner with. One recent entry in the game engine fray is Defold. I don't know how many are familiar with Defold, but Defold is a lightweight game engine from our friends at King. And it's a tool that makes it very, very easy to make games. It's a simplified developer experience so developers can focus on the fun and engaging part of the game. And a few months ago, they gave me a sneak preview of their integration with Play Game Services, and I was blown away at how simple it was. I had to do a double take because the integration looked so easy. And this is how it works for them. So you first have to go into the Play Developer Console and grab an ID. This is a very easy thing to do. And then you go into the default Management Console and copy and paste it in there somewhere. And then once you've done that very small bit of work, you can then, in a single line of code, integrate sign-in with Play Game Services. So it's almost instantaneous. And when they showed it to me, it was something that I believe all game engines should ultimately aspire to be able to accomplish. It should take less than an hour to integrate, and they really bring that vision to fruition. And we're excited to see them launch their Play Game Services support later this year. So there's a lot of other territory we could cover, but I'm going to focus on 3 things that Play Games can do to help you engage and retain your players. So first, we're going to talk about how the Play Games Video Recording API can help you harness the energy and enthusiasm of your gaming community to deepen player engagement. Then we'll cover how you can make dynamic updates with services that Play Game Services provides. And finally, we talk about how you can use our predictive analytics to tune and tailor your game to different player segments. So let's kick things off with how we can help you deepen your engagement with your player community. So for a bit of background, late last year we made it possible for players to record their gameplay from the Play Games app. And in the next few weeks, we'll be making the video recording API available to all developers so that players will be able to invoke that same recording experience directly from your games. And Duke is going to talk about how they're doing that in some of Netmarble titles later on. Players will also have the option to live stream their gameplay to YouTube as well. It's a really powerful feature. And we've seen a lot of excitement around video recording from the very smallest developers to the largest we have on the platform. And more than a dozen partners, including Netmarble prominently, have already launched an integration because they were participating in our early access program. Like I said, this will be available to everybody in the coming weeks. And all the games that you're seeing up here, you can check out on the Play Store today so you can get an idea of how the integrations work. One such excellent integration is from a partner of ours, Camex Games. And I was really impressed for a number of different reasons, and I'll walk you through how their integration works. So from one of the battle screens here, you can see on your left, there's a little recording icon, and if you click that button, it brings up a video recording overlay. And from that overlay, you have all the controls you need to mute the mic, turn on and off the forward-facing camera, as well as start and stop video recording, as you would expect. And then once you've done recording your video, you can then share it on YouTube. And you can see on the screen on your right here that I've been able to clip the video from the end. And you can also observe from the screenshot here that I've pre-filled, or the engine has pre-filled, the title and description with helpful data to speed up the process of sharing replays. And from Michael Tseng, the COO of Camex Games, they said, the Google standalone recording SDK took less than a day to implement, and players are recording clips every day now. Less than a day to implement. So it's a very quick and easy integration. You can do it in a very short period of time and immediately get your players engaged with the video recording capabilities. And another thing that I very much liked about their integration was that they made the feature prominent in multiple places in their game. So off of the main screen, you could launch the recording. So ultimately, you could share a much broader range of experiences. And they also included, as I showed before, from the battle screen. And the more visible the feature is, the more likely your players are to find it and use it. In addition to that, they also turn the video recording capabilities into a selling point for Hero Tactics. So when you go into the game, they would promote the use of the feature, and they even featured it in their store listings. And all these different things that they've done to provide visibility to the video recording feature have been very successful. So 12% of their users have recorded videos, and most of them have recorded multiple videos, and they share these replays through all the typical social channels, as well as very prominently YouTube. It's a great way to engage your audience deeply and have them sell your game for you. Very powerful stuff. So now I want to talk about how Play Games can help you make dynamic updates to your game. And most developers that we talk to, very successful ones, manage their game as a service. And critical to that is being able to dynamically control different aspects of their game from the servers. But it's a lot of hard work to set up and manage these types of things. And if you're not a huge studio with dedicated server engineers, every minute you spend on this kind of back-end server work comes at the direct expense of working on your game. Well, that's no longer a requirement. You, in the coming weeks, will be able to use the Play Games game parameters management tool so that you can dynamically manage the different parameters that drive your game. And with game parameters management, you'll be able to manage things like your virtual good inventory, your gameplay parameters, manage your different currencies, and create time and location-based overrides. Now, the time and location-based overrides are really useful. Many developers that offer time-limited content like a new character or a level and so forth still have to manually turn on and off these promotions and live events. So if your promotion, let's say, ended at 11:59 on a Sunday, we've heard many developers actually have to have someone come into the office and hit a button to turn off their promotion. There has to be a better way to do this, and in fact there is, and it is game parameters management, just to be clear. So if you are running a global business and you want promotions to be run at locally relevant times, with our time and country-based overrides, you'll be able to specify country-specific start and stop times, and we automatically manage everything for you. And like all of our other features, this will be available for free in the developer console. And we've been working very closely with our partner Concrete Software throughout the development of game parameters management. And we were inspired to build the game parameter management service by the opportunity to make it easier, faster, and cheaper for Concrete to manage their game as a service. So game parameters management, in the words of Keith Pickelman, game parameters management will drastically cut setup time and issues while allowing us to create all kinds of new promotions they couldn't previously. And they're looking forward to having game parameters management in all their future games. But let's turn our attention to how developers are using the Player Stats API to tailor game experiences for different player segments. So we launched the Player Stats API last year, and we've continued to invest in a number of new predictions to make the Player Stats API even more powerful. We launched with some basic stats like sessions percentile, spend percentile, as well as with some predictions, the probability that someone is likely to churn, as well as spend. And we have two new predictions coming out in the next few weeks. One of them is a prediction of how much someone is likely to spend in the next 28 days, and the other is the likelihood that someone will become a high spender, a 95th percentile spender or above. And we couldn't be more excited to see what creative things you'll be able to do with these new predictions. But I thought I'd go through a couple of different examples of what people are doing and sort of the enthusiasm we're seeing from the gaming community. And so developer Game Resort felt that the Player Stats API was one of the most exciting things that's recently happened for game developers, particularly for small developers that don't have the resources to do this type of work. And that's a common sentiment amongst many of the smaller and indie developers that we talk to. The predictive analytics power that we have is something that is very difficult to do independently, and we give that capability for free through a Play Game Services integration. And what Game Resort is planning to do with the API is to use spend prediction to show whether or not a user to determine whether or not a user will show ads, or see ads, I should say. And in fact, this other developer's already launched such an integration. So Developer Underwater Apps has a really exciting integration of the Player Stats API. They integrated player stats into their game Tap Ventures and used the spend prediction signal to determine if users should see ads, as I was describing. And if a user was predicted to spend, they saw no ads at all. And if a user is not predicted to spend, they saw ads every time they opened up the game. And they ran an experiment that compared their current approach to serving ads to the new approach powered by spend prediction, and the results speak for themselves. So revenue from ads was 17% higher in the cohort predicted not to spend, and not showing ads to users that were probable to spend increased in-app purchase transactions by 15%. You can see the quote there. But another really exciting example that we just recently heard about is from our partner eRepublik, who's implemented another great use case for player stats. So eRepublik has an internal customer relationship management system they use to track support tickets and so forth and manage outbound communication to players. And all the tickets in their queue are prioritized based on, at least today, and before they have these new predictions involved, based on how much people are spending. So your big spenders and people who spend it all get prioritized over other folks. But with the player stats, they've added churn and spend predictions to their prioritization model to help identify users that have yet to spend that are likely to, and try to retain users that are at risk of churn. And we're excited to see what other creative use cases eRepublik can come up with. This was something that we think that many people who have their own customer relationship management tools internally can replicate and benefit from. And with that, I'll hand things over to TI. Thank you.
Thanks, Ben. My name is T.I. Chang, and I'm developer advocate for Games Partners. Google has numerous excellent products, but this time I want to specifically focus on the products worked well for AAA mobile games I worked with. As you know, there is a huge competition in those segments of the game market, and the developers are very cautious about when they decide the product they use. The products worked well for them can be regarded as competitive in the market. Moreover, I'd like to show you how easy to use them. Here are 5 products really worked well for my partners. Let me go through them one by one and what they are and how to use. The first one is pre-registration. Pre-registration has been a very common practice in PC gaming world. When you launch a game, then you usually do the beta testing and pre-registration and launch. Google provides seamless onboarding experience through Google Play pre-registration. It's one of the most effective user acquisition tools and help the developer from day one. In APAC, especially Japan and Korea, this is the most common practice in mobile. Let me go through the actual user experience for pre-registration. When a big title like a Clash Royale is launching, we prepare pre-registration event before and share the message through various marketing channels so the user can discover and sign up. When user clicks the banner or follow the link, then they go to the game page in Play Store. Sign up for the pre-registration. At the day of game launch, the user gets a notification to install the game so that they won't miss it. We found that this type of onboarding experience helps the lots of partners by helping hundreds of thousands of users to install their game from day one. Many of the pre-registered users remain to be highly engaging and loyal to the games for a long time. Previously, signing in Google Play games was depending on the user's Google Plus profile, which sometimes introduces frictions. If you don't have a Google Plus profile in your account, then you have to create it. and also give a consent each game before you start. With the recent update of Play Games, now you can sign in without using Google Plus anymore. Instead, we introduce new gamer ID and avatar, which are not connected to any of the personal data in Google's properties, and also can be used to identify you among games. So you don't need to give the consent to every game you install. If you create a gamer ID for the first game you sign in, then all other games you install later will automatically use it and won't interrupt you anymore. Here is the previous sample code for Play Games sign-in. You can notice that it used to use Plus API and scope. Now you won't use it. Just use Games API and scope will work fine. If your game is still using Google Plus features such as profiles or circles, then you still need to add Google Plus functionalities. Then please use setRequireGoogle Plus method to notify to Play Games. This will help you handle the rest of the process. The next great feature in Play Games services is Video Recording API. Ben already gave you how it works on overview, but I want to focus on how easy the integration is. Video recording feature itself is in Play Games app, and you can use it by simply invoking the recording widget from your game. Just 2 lines of coding make this work. But please bear in mind that the feature requires to install the latest version of the Play Games app. And devices with Android 5.0 or above. So you'd better notify this to your users before you let them use it. Also, the recording quality of the video recording is depending on the performance of the device and your game. Here you can see how the video recording works. This is a more kind of video recorded by the Summoner as well. And show you how you can invoke the recording widget from your game and click to record the gameplay. Can you play the video record? Thank you. You can see my face in the screen recorded together. Once you're done, just click the stop button and choose to upload it to YouTube. Play it again? Okay, it's cool.
You can see it twice.
Yeah.
So, I think you can stop the video.
Can you stop the video? Okay. Okay. So integration text, just 2 lines of coding. Starter activity for recording widget with an overlay recording intent. This API will be public soon after I/O. Player stats API is a great tool to get insights from the user stats. If you know a user about the segment he belongs to, you can tailor the game experience to make it better for the specific user. The API will tell you lots of things about the user based on the data regarding player progression, spending, and engagement. Player Stats API also predicts how the user will behave in the future based on Google's powerful machine learning technologies. It will tell you the user will churn or spend, or whether he will be a high spender, or how much he will spend within the next 28 days. Let's just see how user can tailor the game experience with this API. If the user is likely to spend, you can turn on, turn off all ads to make the experience better. Or he is unlikely to spend, then you can show ads every 20 minutes. If user is about to churn, you can suggest a chance to try a powerful item to make him stay longer. If the user has not come back for just 10 days, you can send him a notification about how his friends are doing. He might come back to check it. If the user is likely to be a big spender, you can show him a special VIP item which is more expensive and more powerful. Using player stats API is so simple. You can call load player stats method and get the data in the result called out. The prediction starts working soon within just a couple of days after first sign-in. The more he plays and leaves the trace in play games, the better prediction you will get. So please try to use as many features of play games as possible. It will help you get more accurate data and predictions. And last but not least, in-app promotion is another powerful tool you can use from Google Play. With the in-app promotion, you can reward your loyal user and the newcomers. Think about a game community event in which you can introduce your new game and share some promo codes to the attendees with a special in-app item. As long as your game is using in-app billing version 3, the integration costs very little. Let me show you how the process works. First, you can go to the Play Developer Console and generate promo code connected to a specific in-app item. Then distribute the codes to the users through marketing channels such as social letter or blogs or messenger. Once users get the code, they can redeem it within game or within Play Store. Your game client can handle this redemption as part of in-app billing version 3. Finally, the user gets the reward and you can successfully cultivate the loyal users. This is a screen of Play Developer Console. You can create a promotion. When you can define a promotion with the start and end dates, you can link it to an in-app item and also specify the number of codes you generate. Let me tell you how to handle this within your game. When the code is redeemed during the usual in-app purchase process inside the game by choosing redeem option of the payment UI, this is almost identical to with normal in-app billing version 3, except that there is no order ID in the in-app purchase data, since there are no actual transactions. When the code is redeemed in Play Store outside the game, the thing could be a little bit different. You can redeem the code before installing or running the app. In that case, you can handle redemption when the game starts. When the code is redeemed in Play Store while your game is up and running, the store will let your game know that there is an update by sending an intent called purchases update. So your game should listen to this intent and handle it. Please note that there will be no order ID or developer payload when redeemed in Play Store. Let's quickly look at the code snippets of the last case I just mentioned. You should register a broadcast receiver for the intent when your activity is resumed and unregister it when it's paused. In onReceive method of the receiver, you can handle the purchased item as usual, but you will see neither of order ID nor developer payroll since it was not real actual transaction and the purchase didn't happen within game. In many cases, I recommend to create a separate in-app item which is not visible inside the game, just for promo code only. It's way easier to sort out the purchase by redemption from those by actual payment. So far, I have explained Google Play products, which was really useful to our game partner. Now, I want to invite and introduce you Duke from Netmarble, one of our top game partners in Korea. Duke has been working closely with Google for last couple of years, and he will share the developer experience from his point of view. Duke, please come on.
Hello. My name is Duke Kim, and yeah, I have English name, but it doesn't mean I can speak English very well. So just focusing on the script slide. I just want to introduce myself, and I was a developer for 10 years, and now I'm a VP of marketing. So I can explain the developer viewpoint, and also at the same time, a marketing point too. Before starting, I just want to introduce Netmarble because Netmarble is not popular in here, right? And Netmarble is not young company. It's almost 16 years old company, and we just started a game business as a PC online game publisher, and now we are #1 mobile game publisher in Korea, and our market share in Korea is over 30%. It's amazing. And currently, we make money in Korea maybe 48%, and then the rest coming from outside of Korea. And we are #8 worldwide mobile revenue in last year. I introduced Marble Future Fight. We use leading code for promoting this title, and this title launched in April 2015, last year, and the top 10 grossing in a major Asian country, including Taiwan, Thailand, Korea, and yeah, not good result in Japan, and the top 20 grossing in US. I prepared a video to spend time. Wait a minute.
Relinquish all hope. There is no use in resisting. There is only pain. I, Thanos, am your new lord and master.
Yes. Next time I will prepare more longer version. Yeah, Marble Future Fight has had a Google promotion event for a week at the launching time of last year. And during this event, you usually receive the reward when they enter the game after clicking the Google promo banner at the Google Play maybe top page. Totally 40,000 users participate in that event and used the promo code. From this, our new registered users were increased by 16%. These numbers are comparison during the event week and the previous week of the event. At that time, our goal was understanding how to use Google promo code, because in Korea, in Asia, coupon is a very popular marketing method at offline, and that is very important. And we want to expand that experience outside Korea, outside Asia, but there is no way to spread coupon. But because of a Google promo code, I think we can find the right method to use our knowledge about the coupon in Asia. And I want to introduce the next game. The next game is Raven. Raven is a console quality hack and slash RPG. Very long, right? Raven was launched in March of last year, and maintained #1 grossing in Google Play Korea for more than 6 months. It's a record. This game has broken several market records in download and sales, and largely driven Netmarble's revenue in last year. During the last year Korea Game Award ceremony, Raven won the highest honor Grand Prix and also a top developer prize And it also scored award for scenario, sound, graphic, and domestic popularity. Here, the gameplay clip of Raven. Okay, next slide. Yeah, Raven has had a Google promotion event for a week from 24 September to 1 October of last year during the Korean Thanksgiving holidays. The event process was very similar to Marvel Future Fight. In the user would receive reward when entering the game after clicking the promo banner at the top page of Google Play. You can see the effect. DAU increasing, new registration increasing, returning user increasing, revenue increasing. But the most important thing is, with this event, we improved the retention rate. Because every day, user can get a different reward from Google Play. So users continuously log in for a week. That is the most powerful effect of Google promo code. And Evil Bane is the global version of Raven, same blockbuster quality, action RPG, launched this year. And Taiwan, we are number 2, Thailand number 4, Hong Kong is number 7. We did many things for Western market. Because maybe left side. Left side is original version, and the right side is the new version. We changed the UI, and we developed new features to meet the taste of Western. But we still try to understand the Western gamers because there are huge difference between Asian gamers and Western gamers. Asian gamers usually spend 4 or 5 hours a day to play game. Crazy, right? But Western is just spend maybe a half hour a day. A huge difference. So the same balance will not work outside Korea, outside Asia. So that is a headache of Netmarble. And we did pre-registration. Pre-registration is really important in Asia because every Asia gamer wants to be a number 1, among players. That means the easiest way is start game earlier than others. So pre-registration is the best way to start game earlier. So that means for Netmarble, that is the best way to collect loyal user before launching the game. So pre-registration result is really important for us. And in Korea, in Asia, we can collect phone number without any limitation. But outside Korea, that is not normal. And we tried collecting email, we tried collecting some of Facebook ID, and every time we failed. But with the Google team, the new feature of pre-registration, finally we find out the best way to do pre-registration campaign outside of Korea. Here, the chart is really hard to explain because my English problem. Anyway, we accomplished the DAU of 200,000 on the first day of the launching with the help of pre-registration and Google featuring. And the Google featuring means very powerful, but problem is it is really hard to collecting core users. But with the pre-registration, we believe we succeeded to collect loyal user or hardcore gamer outside Korea. And we also adopt the video recording feature. We hopefully, with this feature, we can make a sort of a user community at YouTube. And we try now, and we digging the possibility of this feature, but currently it has just fundamental feature, just user can recording and uploading. And we need more feature to meet the IP holders' needs, like Disney and Marvel and Warner. And we're discussing about that with Google continuously. And I think at the launching time, you can use this feature more powerfully than us. And finally, I just want to cover player stat API. You can predict spender, and you can predict churn. That is looks like cool, and yeah. And Netmarble is a big company, so we have our own prediction model. We have our own churn prediction model. But problem is, at the launching time, we don't have enough data to, how can I say, to use our own model. But PlayerStats API looks like meaningful result, give me meaningful result at the launching time. So I think after 1 or 2 months, after launching 1 or 2 months, we can use our model. But at the starting time, the PlayerStat API is very important to predict what will happen. And we were thinking about using that for promoting our some of in-app item, and also using that to predict and the budgeting, the marketing budget. Yep. Okay, thank you. And I just give it to Per.